So the first question is, list the 3 undefined terms of geometry. Does anyone remember those? Point, line, line and plane. Good. Okay. Point, line, and plane. The distance formula, just remember that is D is equal to x2 minus x1 squared, and then y2 minus y1 squared. All right, for midpoint formula, this is where you add the x's and divide them by 2. So we're going to add 2 x's and just divide it by 2. Same thing with the y's. All right, so let's look at the number 2. Number 2 reads, determine the distance between these 2 points, then find the midpoint. So what was another way we were able to find the distance between 2 points? Does anyone remember? Okay, then we could do the triangle. Good. They may not give you a graph, so I am going to do the formula with you guys. So given the 2 points, this is going to be your x1, y1, and your x2, y2. So for the distance formula, this one just calls for you to subtract the x's and then to subtract the y's, okay? So y2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Okay, what are our 2 x's? Our 2 x's are negative 2 and 2. And I've told y'all before that when it comes to the distance formula, the order doesn't matter. We're just going to subtract them. So I'm going to go in the order that they're listed. I'm going to just do 2 minus a negative 2. Plus, what are our 2 y's? Our 2 y's are 5 and positive 2. Okay, so 5 minus 2. Okay, what is 2 minus a negative 2?
4, since you have to add.
4, because you have to add them. Good. So I've just added that extra step. Zach is right. We're going to do 4 here. And then what is 5 minus 2? 3. All right, what's 4 times 4? 16. 3 times 3. And when I add those together, what do we get? 25. And what's the square root of 25? 5. Good. So the distance is just going to be 5. All right, for midpoint, still looking at the same points. With midpoint, the formula is up here. Let me scroll down a little bit. You're just going to, so on this one, it's subtracting the x's, square them, and then add them, and then take the square root. With midpoint, we're going to just add them and divide by 2. Add the 2 y's, divide by 2. It doesn't matter what the order, just add them for me. So what are my 2 x's? Who can give me my 2 x's? So 2 plus negative 2. Divided by 2. What are my 2 y's? 5 plus 2 divided by 2. Okay, so now let's just add them. What's 2 plus negative 2? 2 plus negative 2. 0. And 5 plus 2 is 7 divided by 2. So what's 0 divided by 2? 0. And what's 7 divided by 2? 3.5. So yes, you can get zeros. Yes, you can get decimals, okay? Number 3 reads, the town of Newton is mapped on a coordinate grid with the origin being City Hall. Evan's house is located at the point 3, negative 7, and Mark's is located at negative 2, 3. How far is it from Evan's house to Mark's house? So they want to know the what between the houses? The distance. So which formula are we going to use? Are we going to use distance or midpoint? Distance. Good. All right. So remember with distance, that's the subtraction one. And you don't have to have a specific order. Just go from the first one to the first one, second one to the second one, okay? All right. So let me just write out the formula for you real quick. All right. So here's the information. What are my 2 x values here? 5 and negative 2. So I'm going to do 5 minus negative 2. 5 minus a negative 2 squared. And what are the y's? Negative 7 and 3. Good. Negative 7 minus 3. Okay, so what's 5 minus a negative 2? Okay, so 5 minus negative 2. What's a negative and a negative? It's going to make this a positive. So what's 5 plus 2? 7 squared. And what's negative 7 minus 3? Negative 10. All right, so what's 7 by 7? 49. And 10 by 10? 100. Even though it's a negative class, that is a negative by a negative. So the answer should be a positive. Together, that gives me 149. And can someone give me the square root of that? What is it? Oh, 149. Thank you. What's the square root of 149? 12.2. So they are 12.2 miles away. All right, let's come down to the next one. It says xy has a midpoint located at negative 2, 2. So xy, let's draw this. Xy has a midpoint, and one endpoint is located at negative 2, 2, and the midpoint is located at 2, 8. And the question is, where should that y be? So we did this 2 different ways when we were tested on this on the last unit. So one way was to label your points. I'm going to call this x1, y1, xm, ym. And do you remember why I picked m's? Because that represents the, which point? The midpoint. M stands for midpoint. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and plug this in. Our 2 formulas are going to be the following. x1 plus x2 divided by 2 is xm. Same thing with y's. y1 plus y2 divided by 2 equals ym. Okay, so what did I label x1? Negative 2, so I'm going to have negative 2 plus x divided by 2. What did I label xm? 2, okay. Let's do the same thing with the y's. What did I label y1? 2. I have nothing for y2, but my ym is 8. Now, hopefully, we're all writing this down, because if it ever comes to you have to do test corrections or you need to do a retest, the review really helps out. All right, so how do I get rid of a 2 when I'm dividing? What's the opposite of dividing? Multiply. Multiply both sides by 2. The 2's cancel out. You're left with negative 2 plus x equals 4. Let's do the same thing on the left side. I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. 2's cancel out. 2 plus y equals 16. So the last step for both of them is just to subtract. How do I get rid of that minus 2? Add the 2 to both sides. 4 plus 2 is 6. Subtract 2 from both sides here, and your y is equal to 14. Your point is at 614. That's your answer. 614. Now let's talk about the other way we did this. Does anyone remember the other way we approached this type of question? Yes, Samatullah.
How you got from 2 to negative 2 minus 4?
Yeah, all right, so let me zoom in here. So what we did before is, and those of you that were comfortable with the shortcut, y'all were able to do this. We're going to go from middle x to the outer x. How do I get from 2 to negative 2? What am I adding or subtracting? Minus 4. And if you go the opposite way, you're going to add 4. And what's 4 plus 2? 6. All right, let's go in the other direction. Let's do 8 now. 8 to 2. Am I going to add or subtract? Subtract 6. If I want to go the other way, I'm going to add 6. And did we come out with the same numbers?
You did it wrong.
It's supposed to be 14?
Yeah.
Thanks. It's okay, guys. We all make mistakes, including your own teacher. All right. 18. All right. Oh, wait, I didn't get 18. I just added wrong, didn't I? Man, I'm going crazy. There you go. Oh, I'm supposed to erase the wrong one. Thanks, guys. All right. There you go. 14. Did we come out with the same numbers?
Yes.
Finally, we did, yes. So it doesn't matter which one you use. I'm going to have these formulas on the board, the yellow ones here. So you don't have to worry about memorizing them, you just have to know how to use them, okay? All right, now to the stuff, oh, not yet. Okay. We're reviewing a lot of the old stuff because we know that you'll have questions like this on there. So it says, A to B has one endpoint located at 3.5 and 2 and a midpoint located at -2.7. So with this one, because it's at decimal, for some of us, we may want to use the formula. So it says one endpoint, A, is at 3.5 and 2. The midpoint is located at -2.7. Where is B? Bless you.
Thank you.
So same thing we did just a minute ago where we did those yellow formulas. Let me write out the one for X. So this is our X1, X2, X1, Y1, sorry, and then our XM, YM. So if our formula calls for X1 plus X2 divided by 2 gives me XM, what am I plugging in for X1? 3.5. We don't have the X2, but my XM is -2. What's the opposite of dividing by 2? Multiply. So let's multiply both sides by 2. Those cancel out. I'm left with 3.5 plus X equals -4. All right, what do I want to do with that 3.5? Subtract it. So what's -4 minus 3.5? What is it? A -7.5. Good. All right, let's do the same thing with the y's. So for our y's, we're going to have y1 plus y2 divided by 2 equals ym. So what's our y1 here? 2. Our y2 we don't have, but our ym is 7. Good. The opposite of dividing by 2 is 2. Multiply. What's 7 times 2? 14. So 2 plus y equals 14. What should be our last step? All right, so let's subtract 2 from both sides, and our y value is 12. So this is at 12 and -7.5. All right, but like I said, I'll have those formulas up. It's just being able to apply it. Now, if you notice, every time I did that type of problem, I drew it so I could know what was my middle point and what was my end point. Okay, it says which statements below are true about the image? Circle all that apply. So can we say, this is where we can assume and not assume things, remember? Can I say that R, S, and W are coplanar? Are they in the same plane? Remember, coplanar means they're all within that same rectangle. Are R, S, and Q in the same rectangle? No. Are points Q, P, and W on the same rectangle? Yeah, so that one is true. Can I say R, S, and Z are coplanar? Yes, I just realized I did something wrong. Anybody see what I did wrong? It was this one. QPW are coplanar, but that's not the question. What's the question asking? If they are collinear, what does collinear mean? Are they on the same line? No, this one goes up and down, this one goes side to side, they're different lines. I'm glad I caught that one. Okay, and then the last one, can I say S, T, and P? Can I say these 3 points are collinear?
Yes.
Yes, those are on the same line. Okay, so you'll have a question where you're just interpreting the image. Remember, don't assume anything unless you know for sure. All right, now to the stuff that we are definitely have been practicing. So let's look at the first one. FOG is 43. FOG is 43 degrees. EOG, which is the whole thing, this whole thing is 84. What is EOF? So what should I do with these two numbers? Subtract them. Can someone give me 84 minus 43?
41.
41 degrees. All right, let's go with the next one. Can y'all name me the adjacent angles? What does adjacent mean? Next to each other. Good. So what two angles are next to each other in this image? F, E, G? And what would be the other angle? D, E, and F. Good. And these are different angles? but they are next to one another. Okay, next one. What type of relationship are angles 1 and 3? Vertical, good. Vertical angles. And you'll be asked simple questions like this. Just what kind of angles are they? Vertical angles. And what do we know if they're vertical? They are the same. Good. So if I give you that 1 is 100, we should know that 3 is automatically the same thing. All right, for angle 1 and 4, what type of angles are angles 1 and 4? What kind? What kind of angles are they? They add up to 180, so I can say they're supplementary. But then they're also some type of pair. Do you remember that word? It's a linear pair. These two are always tied in together because if they're a linear pair, automatically they have to be supplementary. And what does that mean? That means that they add up to 180 degrees. Good. All right, when you're ready, we'll go over to the back side. All right, it says if K to M is this ray. If ray K to M is the angle bisector of angle LKJ, and LKJ is 87, this whole angle here is 87 degrees, what is the measurement of JKM? So if the whole thing's 87, and we know we have an angle bisector, what does the bisector do to the angle? Splits it in half. So if these two are equal, and I know the whole thing's 87, how do I figure out one angle? Divided by 2. Good. What's 87 divided by 2? 42.5. 43.5. I was making sure y'all were listening. All right, next one. Let the measurement of AB to E be 100. A, B to E, this is all 100 degrees. It says B to D bisects it. So again, what is B to D doing to my angle? Splitting in half. So what's each one? 50. Good. So then it says, if B to C bisects the angle and DBE is 4R minus 6, what is R? So 4R minus 6 represents DBE, which is this angle. But what did we just say that angle was equal to? 50. So that's what you said it equal to. All right, so let's solve for R. What do I want to do with that equation? Add 6. Good. 4R equals 56. And what would be my last step? Divide by 4. And R is equal to 14. All right, look at the next one. Also talking about bisecting. Q to S bisects angle RQP. Q to S bisects angle RQP. So these two angles are equal. So if I give you the two equations for each piece, how do I find the measurement of SQ to R? So what do I want to do with these two expressions? Do I want to add them? What do you know about them? They're what to each other? Equal. Remember, anytime anything's equal, set it equal. 8x plus 2 is equal to 11x minus 13. All right, what do we want to move over first? The 8. Okay, let's subtract 8x. 11 minus 8 is 3. And what else can I move over? Add 13. So 3x is equal to 15. What's our last step here? Divide by 3 and x is equal to 5. Now be very careful. 5 is going to be an option for your answer, but that's not your answer. Because the question is asking you to find SQR. So what do you have to do with the x? You got to plug it back in. So let's do 8 times 5 plus 2. Okay, so I'm substituting it into that equation there. What's 8 times 5? And 40 plus 2 is? So if each one is 42, what is the measurement of SQR. Is it looking for the whole thing or just part of it? Part of it. Now look, I plugged it into this one instead of this one. Do you think it makes a difference? Yes or no? No, because what did we say about them? That they are equal. So is my answer 42 or do I need to double it? It's 42. The answer is 42. Good. So 42 degrees. Now, there could be a question where you have to double it, so just make sure you're reading the angle correctly. All right, let's go to the next one. It says AOB is a straight line. How many degrees are in a straight line? 180. Good. It says find the measurement of AOP if POB is 74 degrees. All right, so what am I doing with my two numbers here?
Subtraction.
Good. Can y'all give me 180 minus 74? 106. Okay. All right, rays. Okay, where do my rays start? Remember, ray has a starting point, goes out in one direction. So where is this line, this ray starting at? Who can tell me?
C.
At C. So I'm going to go from C to B. And then I'm going to go from C to A. We could also start somewhere else. What would be the only other starting point we could possibly draw a ray at? And I'm going to B. Oh, you guys are so good. I was going to go through and explain it. B. So I can also go from B to A. All right. We could not start at A because it's not continuing in that direction. It's continuing toward that direction. So we did need to start at C and B. All right. See if you remember the vocabulary. How many degrees are in a complementary set? 90, good. How many degrees are in a supplementary set? And what was complementary again? 90, good. As long as you remember those, these questions should be quick. These are just subtraction. What's 90 minus 56? 34? What's 180 minus 89? 91. What's 90 minus 87? 3 degrees. Okay, so these should be quick questions if we know those definitions, okay? Remember, the S turns into an 8 for supplementary. It turns into an 8. And then for complementary, that C turns into a 9. Okay? All right, last page, guys. All right, last page. So this one reads, if RTS is 8x plus 18. Find the value so that T to R and T to S are that symbol. What does that symbol mean? That they're 90 degrees, that they're perpendicular. So if I have you solve for x, what do I have to do with this equation? Equal it to 90, and that's why that symbol was important to be able to read, so we knew what information it was giving us. All right, what am I moving over? All right, let's subtract the 18. Can y'all give me 90 minus 18? 72. And then if you can divide that for me. X is 9. All right, give you guys a moment to get that copied. And you do want to add all the information onto the image, just like we did when we were reading it. All right, next one. PTQ is 3y minus 10. QTR is y. Find the value of y so that PTR is a right angle. How many degrees are in a right angle? 90. Good. So what should I do with these two equations if I'm solving for y? Add them. And then do what? Equal it to 90. Good. All right. Remember, they're on the same side. If they're on the same side, just put them together. What's 3y plus y? 4y. What should we do now? Add the 10. 4y equals 100. If I divide them both by 4, what is your y equal to? 25. And all they wanted you to do was find y. All right. Let's go to the last two, okay? So this one's looking specifically at angle 12, 11, and 10. 12, 11, and 10. What do we know about those angles? They add up to 180 because they all sit on that straight line. So I'm going to take the three equations and I'm going to add them. 5x plus 10 plus 2x plus 13 plus 3x minus 3 equals 180. All right, I'm going to give you a moment to combine like terms and then we'll check it together. All right, 5x plus 2x plus 3x. How many x's did y'all get? 10x, good. All right, what's 10 plus 13 minus 3? 20. And then what do we want to do? Subtract 20. 10x is equal to 160. And then what's our last step? Divide by 10, and x is equal to 16. All right, last one, I believe. The last one, they're looking specifically at 7 and 10. 7 and 10. What should be true about these two angles? They're vertical. What kind of, and if they're vertical, what's true about them? They're equal. If they're equal, what do we do with equal things? We set them equal. Good. Let's subtract 94 from both sides. And what do we get? 14? Good. All right, so if you notice these last two guys, because they have a lot of information, I just focused on the name of the angle, and then that's what I focused on just to get my thoughts together. The reason I did that is if we start adding all this to our image, when it comes to these types of questions, it becomes a lot and it can sometimes be overwhelming. So focus on the angles, decide how you want to set it up, and then do whatever it is you want to do over to the side, okay? That way you're not putting too much onto your diagram.